Welcome to Grounded Spirits Podcast, a place where we're learning how to stay rooted while flying high. I'm your host, Laura Lynn, and we are looking at tablet number 11 of the Emerald Tablets, titled The Key to Above and Below. So I'm so excited because the Emerald Tablets, they're known for the phrase, as above, so below. So I'm so excited to get into this, so let's get started. The first line starts off with, "Hear ye and list ye, O children of Chem, to the words that I give that shall bring ye to the light. Ye know, O man, that I knew your fathers, I, your fathers in a time long ago. Deathless have I been through all the ages, living among ye since your knowledge began." So the children of Chem, these are the people from Egypt, the people that he is giving this knowledge to, who he's giving these emerald tablets to. Again, Thoth is from Atlantis, and so since the time that Atlantis sunk, he has been even when he was on Atlantis, he was always seeking knowledge. And so after it sunk, he got away and he was in a cave. He met with a dweller. These are all things that we learned about Thoth as he told us in tablets 1 through 10. And so now he's saying, like, listen to me, like, I know, like, I've been deathless because he went to the halls of Amenti where he learned how to become the formed by being formless. So he now knows how to separate his soul from his body. He has full freedom of his soul, and that's why he is saying that I have been with you. He reincarnated 3 times, but in this life as Thoth, he was seen as a god because he could go down to the underworld, he could go up to heaven. He even talks about going to like the end of time, being able to travel through time and space. So that's what's going on here in this opening of the 11th tablet. So next we go into the second one, which starts with, "Leading ye upward to the light of the great soul have I striven, drawing ye from out of the darkness of the night." So in tablets 1 through 10, he tells us that we have to just keep going towards the light. And as long as we keep going towards the light, that's how we're going to gain this knowledge, which then turns into wisdom, which then unlocks our soul and gives it full freedom. And the whole point is to keep growing, to keep changing, to keep going towards the light, because the light is bringing us back to source. But now these are like my own thoughts with this, as I've been trying to implement his words into my life in these last few weeks, actually probably more months now, that it's really difficult to do this. Let me explain. So sometimes you don't know what the light is. Like when you are trying to make a decision in life, whether it's something small like what should I eat today, or something big like should I completely change my career, you don't know where the light is. And well, I guess with the career thing, if you feel like you should change it, you probably should, because that's probably your intuition talking to you. And so it would be towards the light. So I guess I kind of answered my own question, that you want to choose whatever is going to bring about the most change or the most growth. And anything that is keeping you from growing, or keeping you from exhibiting new sides of you, then that's how you know that's the darkness. So this could be in relationships, in career, in your own well-being, whatever it is. I guess the part is just to follow your intuition. I love how by speaking it out, it all just kind of makes more sense than it being in your head, because when it's in your head, you kind of go in circles and you're like, but what is the right decision here? So I think I answered it for you there. Okay, so the next stanza starts off with, "Know ye, O people amongst whom I walk, that I, Thoth, have all of the knowledge and all of the wisdom known to man since the ancient days. Keeper have I been of the secrets of the great race, holder of the key that leads into life. So this is pretty presumptuous of Thoth, saying that he has all of the knowledge, because in the last tablet, he even said that the people who taught him, or the beings rather, the Time Lords, even they don't have all the knowledge. Even they are constantly seeking knowledge. So for him to say now that he has all the knowledge is kind of sus. But when we read the next line that says, all of the knowledge and all the wisdom known to man since the ancient days, I guess he could know all that man knows at the time. But I think that he's saying that there is still more to be explored out there. Let's keep reading. It says, Keeper have I been of the secrets of the great race, or this part, but I'm going to read it one more time. Holder of the key that leads into life, bringer up have I been to ye, O my children, even from the darkness of the ancient of days. List ye now to the words of my wisdom, list ye now to the message I bring. Hear ye now the words I give thee, and ye shall be raised from the darkness to light. So it's so interesting. Throughout all of the tablets, he talks about, like, listen to me now, like, hear me now, that even at that time when he's giving this knowledge to these people, they are much like society is today, where they don't believe in this energy, or they don't believe in the freedom of the soul, or they don't believe in these things. And I think that's why he feels like he has to keep repeating it, and has to keep repeating to go into the light instead of the darkness, because the darkness is always the easy way out. And he even talks about that in the people in Atlantis, that great evils came about because everybody was trying to seek knowledge, but people didn't want to put in the effort to learn the knowledge, so they would seek out evil spirits that would help them learn this dark magic, if you will, faster, and to gain more power. It always comes back to power, right? People want to feel powerful, but they go to the outside, the outer world, to find that power, when the secret, which is not really a secret, is that all of the power that you could possibly want lies within, and it's just a matter of going within to seek that power. The next stanza starts off with, Far in the past when I first came to thee, found I thee in caves of rocks. So maybe he's talking about like Neanderthals, or like big pre-humans. Interesting. Then it says, lifted I thee by my power and wisdom, until thou didst shine as men among men. Found I thee without any knowing, only a little were ye raised beyond beasts. Fanned I ever the spark of thy consciousness, until at last ye flamed as men. So yeah, right? He's talking about cave people here, that when he found us, the humans that he's talking to, and now in current 2024 talking to, that they were just a little bit beyond beasts. So that there was no civilization at this time, but that because of him, he fanned the spark of thy consciousness, and then we were able to, so we were all in darkness that we didn't know. And this actually goes in line with what we were talking about in our last book, it was called Plant Magic, and in there they talk about the stoned ape theory, that we were all just a bunch of apes, that a group of us took some shrooms, and then we were able to see that we were able to like elevate our consciousness, and able to see that we do have this light within, that we are part of God, with our soul. And it kind of seems that's what he's talking about here. So that's interesting. The last stanza on page 66. And just a reminder, if you want to follow along with me, just DM me Emerald Tablets, or send me an email at groundedspirits@gmail.com saying Emerald Tablets, and I'll send you this PDF. I'll send this podcast. I'll send you the podcast too if you want. But send you this PDF for free. So the last stanza goes, "Now shall I speak to thee knowledge ancient beyond the thought of thy race. Know ye that we of the great race," and that's fully capitalized, so it might be he's talking about Atlanteans, it might be that he's talking about people who have reached this level of enlightenment. I'm not quite sure. But it says, "Know ye that we of the great race had and have knowledge that is more than man's. Wisdom we gained from the star-born races." So now he's talking about star seeds, and it could be the Anunnaki, it could be other star seed or star-born races. I used to know all of the names, but now they escape me. But the point is that he's going like way back in time. So I'm not sure. I don't think anybody knows, because as far as anybody today knows, Atlantis is just a myth. But Thoth here is telling us that it's not a myth, that it actually is history, and that we have just forgotten it, or that we don't have enough proof to believe in it. But just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean that it's not real. I could not believe that there's a light or there's a computer in front of me, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, right? Okay, so I'm going to read this part again. It says, "Wisdom we gained from the star-born races, wisdom and knowledge far beyond man. Down to us had descended the masters of wisdom, as far beyond us as I am from thee. List ye now while I give you wisdom. Use it, and free thou shalt be." So he is saying like way back in time, because now he's saying that like he's the middle ground, like as far ago as he is from Atlantis to the Egyptians, that's how far away these star people taught him this knowledge. Like, so let's say it's like 3,000 years between Atlantis and the pyramids of Giza. And so then he's saying it's like 3,000 years in the past. And 3,000 is just an example. I don't know how long. It could be 10,000 years. I'm not sure. Okay, now on page 67, he says, "Know ye that in the pyramid I builded are the keys that shall show ye the way into life. I draw ye a line from the great image I builded." And that actually says builded, it doesn't say built. I just wanted to say that it's not my fault. So I draw ye a line from the great image I builded to the apex of the pyramid built as a gateway. Draw ye another opposite in the same angle and direction. Dig ye and find that which I have hidden. There shall ye find the underground entrance to the secrets hidden before ye were men. So in, I believe it maybe was the first, second, or third tablet, he says that he constructed the pyramids of Giza with his mind. That he was like, I thought it, and then it was. So he's saying like once you reach this level of enlightenment, that you can control matter with your mind. And so that's how he built it. And that's why today people are still trying to figure out how the Egyptians built the pyramids, but Thoth is telling us that he did it with his mind, like easily, quickly, all of that. And so he's saying that in the pyramid of Giza, that's where we're going to find the key of above and below. He talks about like drawing a line. I don't know if he means like math with that. Like, are we trying to do some kind of Pythagorean theorem here? Not quite sure. But he's saying that this is where the secrets hidden before ye were men. So I don't know if he means before we were able to find the light, or before we were men, like he's talking about like cave people. Not sure. Then he says, "Tell ye I now of the mysteries of cycles that move in movements that are strange to the finite. For infinite are they beyond knowledge of man. Know ye that there are 9 of the cycles, 9 above and 14 below, moving in harmony to the place of joining that shall exist in the future of time. Know ye that the lords of the cycles are units of consciousness, sent from the others to unify this with the all. Highest are they of the consciousness of all of the cycles, working in harmony with the law. Know they that in time all will be perfected, having none above and none below, but all one, in a perfected infinity, a harmony of all in the oneness of all." So, to explain what's going on here, if you need to read my book. My book is called Monterey, Passage Through Water. You can find it on Amazon, or you can go to Grounded Spirits on my Instagram, and it's in the link in bio. But the reason why I'm telling you to read this book is because I illustrate how this would work before, like, I'm reading this with you. Like, I haven't read it before. We're figuring this out together. So, tell me how I was able to come up with this. In the book, not to give too much away, but the main character, Raina, she sees all of these light strings coming together to form like this one wand, if you will. I explain it 10 times better in the book. It's actually a really cool part of the book, how everything kind of comes together and becomes this one that Thoth is talking about. But what Thoth is saying is that it's kind of like a kaleidoscope where you have 9 different breaks or different slides. How do I explain this better? Like 9 different like pieces, and the other one has 14. And so as you twist and turn it, you see all of these like kaleidoscope things. But he's saying that they that he's talking about are the lords of the cycle. So these are the lords. The way that they come into my head is the babies from Regular Show with Skips. Like that's how I imagine these time lords. These lords of the cycle are the same beings. There's 9 of them. But he's saying that they know that they're going that they're going to be able to eventually line up perfectly, where this nine slides with these, I say slides, but I mean sides. I mean, it could be slides as well. But these 9 sides will line up perfectly with these 14 sides, and we'll just be able to see one. Like, you'll be able to only see one image in this kaleidoscope that is life. Deep beneath the earth surface in the Hall of the Amenti sit 7 the lords of the cycles, and another the lord from below. Yet know thee that in infinity there is neither above nor below, but ever there is and ever shall be oneness of all, and all is complete. Oft have I stood before the lords of the all, oft have I fought of their wisdom, have drunken and filled both my body and soul with their light. So he's saying that like he's spent time with these time lords that have taught him all that he knows, and so he has really he jumped into the deep end. Like, he is engulfed in this stuff, and it has filled him up and has fully integrated his soul, mind, body, and spirit, and that is how he has been able to understand this knowledge that they have bestowed upon him. Spake they to me, and told me of cycles, and the law that gives them the means to exist. Spake to me the lords of the 9, saying, O Thoth, great are ye among earth children, but mysteries exist of which ye not know. Ye know that ye came from a space-time below. This, and know ye shall travel from the space-time beyond. But little know ye of the mysteries within them. Little ye know of the wisdom beyond. Know ye that ye as a whole in this consciousness. So they're telling him, like, you think that you know it all. So again, with what he said, I know all of the knowledge, right? He's there like, you think you know it all, but you only know like the two ends. You know like the beyond and you know the below, but now it's time to know what's going on in between. And by doing this, you're going to figure this out by hanging out with these humans. And I believe it was the third tablet where he talks about he like learns all this stuff when he meets with these Time Lords, and they tell him go get a job. Basically, they're like, you learned all of this, now it's time to pick a job. And he's like, well, I guess I could just go and teach humans. Is that cool? And they're like, yeah, that sounds good. So then he did. Oh, no wonder it didn't make sense. There's another line on the next page. So the last bit of page 67 says, know ye that ye as a whole in this consciousness are only a cell in the process of growth. Okay, that makes 10 times more sense. Funny enough, I just read this paper by Hilda Hein, who talks about cells and how a cell only knows its function when around other cells and when in communication with these other cells. But once the cell leaves the body, it has no idea what to do. It doesn't matter that the DNA is in the cell and the nucleus can tell the cell what to do. It has no idea how to function without being part of a community. And interestingly, he uses the word cell here, saying that, like, you think that you know ye that ye as a whole in this consciousness. So you know yourself enough to be formed in the formless, so to be able to know your soul well enough that you don't need a body. Because if we were to take anybody off the street and separate their soul and their body, their soul would just fly up into space. Think about that DCOM sister, what's it called, stepsister from Planet Weird, where she was afraid of wind because she was a bubble, and so if there's too much wind, the bubble will just pop. Like, that's literally how her mom died, when the bubble popped. And I'm not giving too much away. That's like in the first 2 minutes of the movie. But yeah. So anyway, what he's saying here is that he's only a cell in the process of growth. That he can't function outside of humans because he was a human for a long time. Before he went on this journey, he was human. So that he's still part of that, and he still is growing, like his soul is still growing in this process. The consciousness below thee is ever expanding in different ways from those known to thee. It though in space-time below thee is ever growing in ways that are different from those that were part of the ways of thine own. For know it grows as a result of thine growth, but not in the same way that thou didst grow. The growth that thou had and have in the present have brought into being a cause and effect. No consciousness follows the path of those before it, else all would be repetition and vain. Each consciousness in the cycle it exists in follows its own path for the ultimate goal. Each plays its part in the plan of the cosmos. Each plays its part in the ultimate end. the farther the cycle, the greater its knowledge and ability to blend the law of the whole. So what's going on here is actually really beautiful, saying that like we all have our piece to play. We all have our role in the community that we must play. Like we're all just an individual cell that the rest of the other cells need us. So why are we trying to separate ourselves? Because then we, like how I was saying before with the Hilda Hine article, that cells don't know how to function outside of the company of other cells. But as humans, especially today in 2024, so many of us feel lonely. So many. Like, I would find it rare, I would find it odd if you weren't lonely at some time in your life. I think that we have all experienced loneliness, and we've all experienced what it is to hide our true self for fear of not being accepted or not being part of the group. So we hide who we are so that we're not lonely. But then I feel like Halsey has a line with this, that she feels like even in a crowded room, she still feels lonely. Maybe Selena Gomez said this. I don't know. One of them said this, that it doesn't matter. They could be in a room with 1 million people, and that's when they feel the most alone. Because people aren't there for them. They're there for, like, some, how she says it here, would be repetition in vain. Like, if we were just to repeat other people's cycles, it would be in repetition and in vain. It wouldn't be, because that's what our soul wants us to do. And that's why we really need to quiet down and listen to our souls. Because each plays its part in the plan of the cosmos. Each plays its part in the ultimate end. And so, like, to stop listening. Like, I also read, today I'm just, like, blanking on everything. I have been really tired all day, actually. But somewhere I heard this, that we're all waiting for you to unleash your gift. Like, your gift, like, your natural gift that you just naturally have, like, the whole world is waiting for your gift to come out. And actually, this is from a interview that I did here on Grounded Spirits back in, like, 2022, maybe. It was in April with Christian de la Huerta, and he wrote this book. I think it's like Awakening the Soul or something along those lines. And he said that it's selfish to not let your gift shine. It's selfish to hold that back, because the world needs it. And if more people were able to unleash their inner light, then the world would be a better place, and we wouldn't have all of this destruction, all of this horrible stuff that's going on in the world today. If you would, calling you out, if you would actually let your gift come out and allow it to do what it's meant to be. Because each plays, again, I'm going to say it again, each plays a part in the plan of the cosmos. I'm actually going to highlight this, because that's how important it is. So that's what you're hearing, is me highlighting this on my computer. But what am I saying with this? That, yeah, we have to stop being afraid, and we have to just, like, go for it. Today on Publish, so it's another account that I run, where if you are creative, I would love for you to join it. It's a community for creatives, and so every day I post just, like, uplifting things for creatives, for artists, and then I show like, what's going on in the community, like, different people everybody puts out art. Not everybody. There is art that's being put out on Instagram every single day, and so I just show it off. And so today I posted this guy who said, I'm gonna show off my photography every day until I hit 500 followers. And that was 4 months ago. And now he has 50,000 followers. Like, isn't that insane? So it's just a matter of putting yourself out there and and knowing, like listening to your soul so that you know what part it's supposed to play in this plan of the cosmos. Again, alluding to Monterey, my book, about like the different lines that come together, that each line is the individual soul. And together we form this like orchestra, that we form the orchestra that is God. And so it's really incredible. But if like especially if you listen to like EDM and stuff, like you hear this like weird like little boings or those little like click clacks in the background. Oh, or even like in country with Hardy, he has a song out called Psycho, and then he has like the original like that noise, like that creepy noise of the movie Psycho, like when like the killer's gonna come. He has that in the background of the song, and so it's cool when you like pick up on it throughout different parts of the song, and it's like that part of the song is needed. And so it's the same thing goes like for you and your gift, that part is needed because it makes the song 10 times better to have this background. And it all kind of comes together, you need the drums, you need the guitar, you need the singer, you need like all these different aspects that create a song. And if we were missing any part of that, then the whole song would crumble, or it wouldn't be as good, or it'd be monotone, or there's a bunch of different elements that go into it. So yeah, let your gift shine. All right, moving on. It says, "Know ye that ye in the cycles below us are working the minor parts of the law." That's what I just said about the minor parts of the song. That's really cool. Okay. "While we of the cycle that extends to infinity take of the striving to build greater law." Whoa, that's cool. So what he's saying is that it is our job to let our light shine, so that, like here on earth, so that he and all of his buddies up in space or wherever they're at, so that they can form greater law. So the law that they're talking about here is like the harmony or like the balance of the universe. And so the more light that we have down here, the more that they're able to manipulate it to get us back to source. So I've thought about this a lot, and I'm sure I probably have talked about it in the 4 years that this show has been running. So I have a hard time believing that the whole point of life is to go back to God, because if you think about life as having all these different timelines, and that every decision that you make, a new timeline appears. So even something as simple as me pausing and talking like this and talking normal, there's another timeline where I didn't do that and I just talked normal throughout the whole thing. And so it's like two separate timelines. And some things like that are super minor that it wouldn't really matter, like my next decision isn't get affected by that. But there are some things that are huge. That, for instance, if I didn't marry my husband, then like that, my whole life would be different. So you have different decisions like that. But the whole point is that I don't think that life is about just trying to get back to source. I think that life is just about growth. And the way that Thoth talks about it with like going towards the light, it all comes back to growth. So the law that he's talking about is that like he's going to be able to manipulate where our light goes. So whether it's going back to source or whether it's exploring new things out there, our light has that ability to enact real change. And I feel like at the end of the day, everybody wants to be a somebody. And that's the cool part, that everybody is a somebody. So yeah, again, it's just really important to show your light, because not only is it helping yourself by being your true, most authentic self and being fulfilled, having self-actualization, having that positive freedom that then translates to outer freedom or negative freedom. In addition to all of that, you're helping humanity and you're helping the cosmos. So isn't that insane that like by being your true self, you're literally making the world go round? And then that's like how we all have like this main character energy, and this is why, because we each have our own part to play, and if we don't play our part, everything goes to shit, basically. Okay. Each has its own part to play in the cycles. Oh my gosh. I should keep reading before I keep talking. Oh my gosh, this is so cool though. But it's like, it actually like it's cool though, right? Because like the way that that means that I'm understanding it correctly if I'm able to say the things before we read them, right? Okay. So I'll read it again. It says, each has his own part to play in the cycles. Each has his work to complete in his way. The cycle below thee is not yet below thee, but only formed for a need that exists. For know ye that the fountain of wisdom that sends forth the cycles is eternally seeking new powers to gain. So this part is talking about like everything that's in existence is because there's a need for it. If there wasn't a need for you, you wouldn't exist, you wouldn't be here. And then the same thing goes like for all the bad stuff that's here. There's a bad stuff because there's a need for it for this good stuff to take place. I saw on Instagram today that like for every disease there's a cure by a flower or something like that, or by an herb. And that's why the disease is there, so that the flower can live up to its full potential to cure it. So I thought that was an interesting take. Let me know your thoughts. DM me on Grounded Spirits. But here he's saying like an actual like whole plane of existence is here because we need it. So it could also be with all the bad stuff that's going on in the world. How it says, the cycle below thee is yet below thee, but only formed for a need that exists. For know ye that the fountain of wisdom that sends forth the cycles is eternally seeking new powers to gain. And so the powers that they're trying to gain to add to this fountain of wisdom comes from you. Like you yourself carry this wisdom. There's this cool place, and I'm not sure where, but I'm sure you can Google it. Where instead of, it's like a library full of old people. So instead of checking out a book, you check out a person, and they'll tell you like their life story, or you can ask them anything you want, and they'll do that. There's a great quote, and I'm not sure by who said this, but he said that every time that an old person dies, that is like a loss of a library in and of itself. That we gain so much knowledge and so much wisdom that we couldn't possibly ever write it all down. And I took a oral history class where it was along the same lines, like you could interview somebody 10, 15, 20 times and still learn something new from this person. And that's like in a scholarly way, but I feel like even in a relationship, like I've been married for 4 years and we've been together for 6, and I'm constantly learning new things about him. So, and that's somebody that I talk to and spend almost my full 24 hours with every single day since I've met him. So, could you imagine like somebody who you only get to talk to once, how much knowledge that they still have? And so it also makes sense as to when having a conversation with somebody, like try to get that knowledge out of them, try to understand the wisdom that they carry. So yeah, those are the new powers. So like when we actually like let ourself out, like our true authentic self out, when we have that freedom of the soul, that's where the power lies. Like I was saying before, that the power is only inside, and then that's how we're going to add to this fountain of wisdom. Ye know that knowledge is gained only by practice, and wisdom comes forth only from knowledge. And thus are the cycles created by law. Means are they for the gaining of knowledge, for the plane of law that is the source of the all. The cycle below is not truly below, but only different in time and in space. The consciousness there is working and testing lesser things than those ye are. And know, just as ye are working on greater, so above ye are those who are also working as ye are on yet other laws. The difference that exists between the cycles is only in ability to work with the law. We who have being in our circles beyond thee are those who first came forth from the source and have in the passage through time-space gained the ability to use laws of the greater that are far beyond the conception of man. Nothing there is that is really below thee, but only a different operation of law. So what he's talking about here is the micro and macrocosm, which I have talked about so much on this podcast. That, and I actually talked about it in Monterey as well, my book. So basically what he's saying is that, so in Monterey, let me give you this example. So in Monterey, she's just herself. Like, she doesn't know anything about the macro or the microcosm. But then she does get to go inside of herself. So she gets to speak with the Holy Spirit of that inner self named Holy Ray. And Holy Ray explains the whole universe that Holy Ray governs, which is inside of Reina, the main character. And Ray also explains, and we talked about this last week, if not the week before, that she can visit any lower planes, but she can't go to any higher planes unless she gains the knowledge sufficient to gain those higher planes. And so that's what Thoth is telling us here, that just like we have a whole universe within ourselves that are of lower planes that have a need to exist, we too are those lower planes for them. So Thoth is part of that higher plane of us humans. And so he understands the universe so much better than we do, because we couldn't possibly understand it when we are it. It's that whole thing about, if you're watching a river flow, that you can't be a water molecule because you wouldn't even know that you're in a river. If you are able to step outside and for the example of this came from was like looking at your emotions. If you can view your emotions, it's because you aren't a part of them. Or if you can view your negative, your intrusive thoughts, that means you're not them. That you are an observer on the side, like in the riverbank, watching the river flow, watching the emotions flow, watching the overthinking, the intrusive thoughts flow, but that they're not you. And so that's what Thoth is saying here, that at one point he was like us, he was human, but not anymore. He's on this higher plane, but he still understands this lower plane because he was part of this at one time. Look thee above, or look thee below, the same shall ye find. So this is what I was saying, that the universe that's inside of us, we are part of a universe that Thoth can now see, that we're just part of a universe that he's no longer really a part of. Just like in Monterey, Reina is not a part of Holy Ray's universe. Reina is part of her own universe, who in the book I believe I call God Larry. And so she's part of Larry's universe. Instead of like Holly, for instance, is part of Reina's universe. So it goes like that. So that's what Thoth is saying here, that look thee above or look thee below, ye shall find the same. The same shall ye find, is saying that we're all just fractals in a higher or lower consciousness or plane, or however you want to call it. We're all just fractals, the microcosm, macrocosm. For all is but a part of the oneness. That is, at the source of the law, the consciousness below thee is part thine own, as we are part of thine. So, again, exactly what I'm talking about. That everything, so we could look at it as far like with math, that like 0.01 can be like the smallest thing, and then you can go 0.1, then 1, then 10, then 100, and it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger, but it really is just ones and zeros. And that they're all, when you add it all together, they're all going to equal infinity, because infinity is what God is. And so that's what it says, the consciousness below thee is part thine own, as we are part of thine. So the parts inside of us, they are part of ours, just like we are part of them, like the people that are higher, the beings that are higher than us. Ye as a child had not the knowledge that came to ye when ye became a man. Compare ye the cycles to man in his journey from birth unto death, and see in the cycle below thee the child with the knowledge he has. And see ye yourself as a child grown older, advancing in knowledge as time passes on. See ye, we also the child grown to manhood, with the knowledge and wisdom that came with the years. So also, O Thoth, are the cycles of consciousness, children in different stages of growth, yet all the one source, the wisdom, and all to the wisdom returning again. So he's saying that, I think, like, if this could be he is talking about it seriously, like an actual child and an actual grown person, but I feel like it could also be metaphorically. Like, when I first started Grounded Spirits, I used to call us baby witches, because we were barely learning about all of this spiritual stuff, where I feel like now we know what's out there. I feel like the spirituality fad has come and gone, and so the people that are still in it, are still practicing, they are in it for the long haul. That it's not just for the bandwagoners anymore, which I think is great. But what it's saying is like we're constantly growing, we're constantly going into new stages, and that part is important to do so that, because that's how we gain gain wisdom, is by going through these stages and learning more as we go, as we progress. Ceased then he from speaking, and sat in the silence that comes to the Lord's. Then again spake he unto me, saying, O Thoth, long have we sat in Amenti, guarding the flame of life in the halls. Yet know we are still part of our cycles, with our vision reaching onto them and beyond. I know we that of all. I know. So it's like yes, in agreement. Know we that of all. Okay, so yes, we know of everything. Okay. Nothing else matters excepting the growth we can gain with our soul. So it means like nothing else matters except growing. And by growing, we mean like getting closer and growing in unison, or like aligning in an alignment with the soul. Because again, the soul is just part of the divine is source. Know we, the flesh is fleeting, the things men count great are nothing to us. So what people say are like riches, or like achievements, success, stuff like that, they're saying like, no, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is becoming one with your soul. The things we seek are not of the body, but are only the perfected state of the soul. Okay, that's wild, because I just completed this huge project of looking at freedom of the soul, with Taylor Swift and Gabrielle Souchon. And Souchon, she literally says this, that through the knowledge that is how we can perfect the soul, and that is the only thing that really matters. So that's wild that now here we are, thousands of years before she said that. She said that in the 1600s. Well, 1693 to be exact. But here we are. Okay. When ye as men can learn that nothing but progress of the soul can count in the end, then truly ye are free from all bondage, free to work in a harmony of law. So I recently, and by recently I mean like at the beginning of the year, picked up swimming. And barely now am I starting to see like actual improvement. But I finally know what it means to swim with the water instead of against it, because I would just get so tired, like I would not be able to even swim across the whole pool. And now I can do it on one breath. So like that's pretty cool. But it's because I learned this to work, how he says it, how Thoth says it here, free to work in the harmony of law, where you no longer have to try. I can do this thing now where I can swim all the way across without ever pedaling my legs. Like without moving my legs at all. Like just with my pure, just like by pushing off the side of the pool at the beginning, and then just using that momentum with my arms and knowing and like going, like again, how it says it here, like moving with the water, in harmony with the water, and knowing and timing it, and not necessarily like not even thinking about it, but just feeling, okay, now it's time to like put my other hand in the water. Now it's time to, I'm able to go across the entire pool on one breath without moving my legs at all. I can do it just on my pure arms. And that's what Thoth is telling us here, that if we are just seeking progress of the soul, then that's how we are truly free from any bondage. This is how we achieve positive freedom. So that big project I'm talking about, it's a book. It's coming out in October, but you can pre-order it now. And it's going to be so cool because I'm going to be looking at positive freedom, so self-actualization, with, like I said, Gabrielle Souchon and Taylor Swift, and looking at it through their works, looking at it through their astrology, looking at it through their social justice outlooks, inclusion, love, all that kind of stuff. The book is called Freedom, Love, and Knowledge, and you can find it on Amazon today. But like I said, it does come out in October. But if you do buy it on pre-order and then take a screenshot and email it to me or DM me on Instagram, I can send you a snippet of the first chapter, because it is literally going to blow your mind. And you should read it not just because you may be interested in Taylor Swift or Gabrielle Souchon, the first female philosopher who was able to publish her work without a man. Everybody else had like a father or a brother or somebody who would support the writings of this woman. But no, Gabrielle Souchon, she did it all by herself. She paid for her first, for this book, the one I'm talking about, for it to be published. She paid for it out of her own pocket. Like, that's wild to believe in yourself that much. And it's like 700 pages, like her pamphlet, not mine. Mine's like this first part is only 50 pages, but the whole thing as a whole is probably like 270 pages. But where am I going with this? The fact is that, you could learn all about her, all about Taylor Swift, learn about their upbringing, learn about the history, like all that kind of stuff. But reading this, especially this first chapter, it's going to help you find positive freedom within yourself, so that you no longer hate your body, so that you can actually enjoy living and eating what you want and feeling good about it, and not feeling like you're trapped inside, feeling comfortable in your own skin, having that confidence, all of that kind of stuff. Learning how to have relationships, how to seek good relationships. How do you know if this is a relationship that you should be in? Again, with this whole going into the light, staying out of the darkness. I talk all about that, of course, using Taylor Swift as examples, but also Sushon. She was never married, but she had a lot to say about marriage, so I get into it there. And then society. So what I did is I found out, or I kind of discovered, I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I'm going to go with it. I discovered this framework that I think could apply to absolutely anybody. It even applied to The Lion King. So yeah, you definitely want to go and read that. And then at the end, I even have like an appendix where I like I break down numerous people, including myself, and how I also fit into this framework. So it was just wild to create it or discover. I don't know. But yeah, you should definitely go check it out. Okay, moving on. This is our last page, page 70. It says, "Know, O man, ye should aim at perfection, for only thus can ye attain to the goal. Though ye should know that nothing is perfect, yet it should be thine aim and thy goal. Ceased again the voice of the nine, and into my consciousness the words had sunk. Now seek I more wisdom, that I may be perfect in law with the all. Soon go I down to the halls of Amenti, to live beneath the cold flower of life. Ye whom I have taught shall never more see me, yet live I forever in the wisdom I taught." So I think it was in maybe like 4 or 5, maybe even 6, tablet number 6. He talks about how these lords, they are part of this like flower of life. So maybe that's even what he's talking about with like the 9 above and 14 below. That it's about like how many like circles it took to create this flower of life in these different dimensions. So that's what he's saying here. That's what he said at the beginning too, that he created the pyramids of Giza to hide the entrance to the halls of Amenti, and that is where he went under to never be seen again, and that's why he left us these 15 indestructible emerald tablets. All that man is because of his wisdom. All that he shall be is the result of his cause. List ye now to my voice, and become greater than common man. Lift thine eyes upward, let light fill thy being. Be thou ever children of light. Only by effort shall ye grow upward to the plane where light is the all of the all. Be ye the master of all that surrounds thee. Never be mastered by the effects of thy life." So what he's saying here is, like, you're not a victim. Things do not happen to you, they happen for you. And to like really truly believe that everything is for your greatest good, everything is pushing you closer and closer to the light. Create then ever more perfect causes, and in time shalt thou be a son of the light. Free, let thine soul soar ever upward. So here's where we're like with grounded spirits, this is the whole like fly high part, right? While still being grounded, by perfecting the soul, by knowing who you are, all of that kind of stuff. That's how you grow your roots. And then so that you can fly free. So I'm going to read that part again. It says, "Free, let thine soul soar ever upward, free from the bondage and fetters of night. Lift thine eyes to the sun in the sky space. For thee, let it be a symbol of life." I'll read that part again. "For thee, let it be a symbol of life. Know that thou, the greater light, perfect in thine own sphere, where thou art free." So thine own sphere, it also reminds me of the stepsister from Planet Weird, like I was talking about before, that she's actually a bubble. And I then think that's the best way to explain the soul. So that's what he's saying, like, perfect in thine own sphere where thou art free. Like, that is like where the soul is. The soul feels like it doesn't belong in a body, it belongs in a sphere where it can be free to soar and do what it needs to do, because as in this body we can't fly other than in a plane, right? So a bubble can float around and do whatever it wants. And that's what he's talking about here. But what I'm saying here on this podcast is that we need both. Like, yes, it'd be cool to be a bubble and to be a soul just floating around space. Yes, that would be cool. Thoth really seems to enjoy it. But we came here to be human, to have these human experiences. So why are we bashing our bodies? Like, should be so thankful for these bodies that allow us to feel, allow us to move, allow us to experience these things that we would never be able to experience without them. Look not ever into the blackness. Lift up thine eyes to the space above. Free, let thine light flame upward, and thou shalt be a child of the light. And that's how it ends. So that was tablet number 11, the key to above and below. So we talked about the microcosm and all that kind of stuff. And next week, we're getting a twofer. It is tablet number 12, the law of cause and effect, and the key of prophecy. So that will be really interesting, that we will get into next week. And oddly enough, it's actually really short. It's only 4 and like a stanza long, whereas I feel like ours today was a lot longer. But in any case, we will go into that next week. So if you learned something, please give this podcast a 5-star review. And with that, I shall leave you. As above, so below. Bye, everybody.